you follow the channel, you know me. I like looking for them stories that don't always go viral or don't always make your local news networks. In today's story, we have a 14-year-old accused of killing parents in Middleburg home and then walks to a church and calls 911 and asks the 911 caller to pray for him as he waits for the police. Let's get into that.
We're seeing the face of the teen who stands accused of killing his parents. 14-year-old Trevor Lee facing 2 counts of second-degree murder. And for the first time tonight, we're hearing his voice in the newly released 911 dispatch recording. I want to warn you, hearing the call may be disturbing.
Do you pray?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, I'll listen to you. Well, I was going to ask if you could pray for me, ma'am. Right now, I'll definitely be praying for you, son.
Investigators say Lee was outside a church when he dialed 911 and reported himself. He stayed on the phone until deputies got to his location and took him into custody.
News4Jax reporter Eric Avenes here in studio with us with more on this new information he obtained in this case. Eric?
Yeah, we were able to acquire a lot more information than what we had yesterday when we first reported this story. Now, we now know where in the house the parents were killed and the extent of their fatal injuries. We also found out that the 14-year-old called his aunt in California before he called 911 to turn himself in. Just one day after 44-year-old David Lee and 45-year-old Brandy Smith were found shot to death inside their Silver Oak subdivision home in Middleburg, News4Jax has learned the couple was in their bed when they were shot multiple times. Both were pronounced deceased when paramedics arrived. Investigators identified the killer as the couple's son, 14-year-old Trevor Lee. After the parents were murdered, Lee called his aunt in California. She then called Clay County 911 dispatch. What her nephew told her was redacted from the 911 recording.
They're in the house, please. Send help, immediately, ambulance, whatever, immediately.
The teen traveled to a nearby church parking lot and called 911. He stayed on the line until deputies arrived to take him into custody.
I'm by the road. I threw my backpack away from me. I'm stripped. I'm waiting for police. What do you mean you're stripped? I have nothing in my pocket. I emptied my pockets and everything. There's nothing in my pockets.
While most of his conversation with the dispatcher was redacted, we hear him ask the dispatcher to pray for him.
Do you pray?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, I'll listen to you. Well, I was going to ask if you could pray for me, ma'am.
And in those times of need, you're supposed to have someone there who could have handled that praying part. Excuse me. But what do you think? Get in the comment section. Let me know. He sounds calm. You know, everything you find on him, he was a straight-A student, he was intelligent, he was a good kid. What the hell you think happened? What went wrong in that house?
Right now, I'll definitely be praying for you, son.
These parents are dead in their bed. And
Retired JSO Director of Investigations turned News4Jax crime and safety analyst Tom Hackney says this was no doubt a heinous crime carried out by a kid, but he also says the fact that the teen called 911 to surrender himself says something.
Instant remorse. When you hear the sound of his voice and you hear kind of what he's going through, aside from the redacted part, you hear some instant remorse. And I think that's kind of bolstered by the fact that he left the scene and goes immediately to call 911 and turn himself in.
Now, the 14-year-old remains in custody at the Regional Juvenile Detention Center in Jacksonville. So far, he has not been charged as an adult.
So, another thing I find interesting is they redact what they want, right? So they put all the stuff out there that makes him look guilty or look bad, but they don't put the redacted stuff. But, you know, we gonna go listen to what they say about him with family and friends. Let's get to it.
It's just absolutely devastating no matter which way you look at it. A young teenager in jail for the murder of his parents. His parents have now passed. They were shot and killed last night. And there is one surviving family member. We're told it's a daughter who's in her 20s who doesn't live here, now left to deal with the tragedy all alone.
Good kid, straight A student.
Instead of starting high school next week, 14-year-old Trevor Lee is behind.
So as you can see, good kid, straight A student, and he has a sibling. He didn't kill his sibling. I don't know if the sibling was living in the same house. But what do you think? Get in the comment section. Let me know.
Behind bars. Kyrie Bayman is his best friend and says he would never have thought this possible.
He was funny, charismatic. He always brought good energy, good vibes.
But now he's charged with killing both of his parents. It happened just after midnight. Clay County Sheriff Michelle Cook says David Lee and Brandy Smith were shot to death.
It appears that there was some sort of domestic argument last night between Trevor Lee and his parents, and that this shooting culminated from that argument.
Deputies are now tasked with figuring out what that fight was about and whether there were any behavioral issues before.
I don't know what caused them to do what, so.
Brandy's cousin, James Lewis, still can't believe it.
I guess I never know what caused them to do that, because, like I say, he had good parents. So for him to, do that, we don't know why.
He says
good parents, good student, great kid. What the hell went wrong? And we may never know. What was the argument about? We may never know.
Family seemed close and always got along.
They were probably the best or one of the best families I knew. They were funny and they treated me very well. They told me all the time that they loved me like a son.
And real quick, I thought it was important and cool that the news put Lil Man's friend in there, because there's multiple sides when stuff like this happens. Yeah, of course, the immediate family, the relatives, they upset, but this is the next door neighbor. That was his best friend. He now he's traumatized. So people, when you out here hurting people, understand sometimes your pain goes far, wide, and deep.
And the Clay County Sheriff's Office is working to figure out what that argument was about, and as a result have been asking folks in the community, neighbors, friends of the family, to come forward and talk to them so they can get a clearer picture of exactly what happened.
So, of course, nobody knows what happened. Will we ever know what happened? And now we gonna listen to the raw, uncut, and see what the sheriff said about the whole situation.
Here from Clay County, and I am here this morning to report some just terribly tragic news. Just after midnight this morning, our 911 communications center received a call from a young man who stated he had just killed his parents. He stated that deputies could find his parents at the house and that he had walked just over a mile away to a church, and he would await for deputies to arrive to take him into custody. Deputies responded immediately to both locations, the church and then to a home on out here in the Middleburg area. When deputies arrived to the church, they took 14-year-old Trevor Lee into custody. When almost simultaneously deputies arrived to the address in question, they found two deceased individuals inside: David Lee, 44 years of age, and Brandy Smith, 45 years of age. Both of the deceased appeared to have gunshot wounds. Based upon our preliminary investigation, and we're still very early in this investigation, it appears that there was some sort of domestic argument last night between Trevor Lee and his parents, and that this shooting culminated from that argument. This does appear to be an isolated incident, and we have no further threat to our community at this time. Again, this is a very active scene. Our detectives are working diligently to try to figure all of this out. We do want to extend our deepest sympathies to the family, the friends, and all of those who are affected by this heartbreaking incident. And we would like to ask anybody in the community that may have some information regarding Trevor Lee or his parents to please reach out to us at 904-264-6512. And with that, I will take any questions.
Did the teen have any prior mental health history, anything like, visiting the guidance office at school, or any therapy, any Baker Acts?
That we're looking into that. That's going to be part of the investigation. You think about this just happened at midnight last night, just after midnight, and we're here early Monday morning. So all of that is going to be looked at.
So there you have it. They really doesn't know much. They really haven't probably interviewed the kid or talked to the kid. We'll probably never know why this happened. We'll probably never know what happened in that argument and what's been going on in their life and the relationship with their son. But get in the comment section, let me know how you feel. And on this channel, I present you with the facts. I give you my opinion on those facts. And if you like how I do that, click that like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, click all, so you can get notifications every time I drop one of these videos. And if you can't comprehend that, cut the shit. That part.